Hello punters, welcome back to another racing preview. We've just completed the Mooney Valley video. Go and check that out if you are interested in playing at the Valley tomorrow. Obviously this is going to be the Randwick preview, so if you're playing at Randwick tomorrow or both meetings, make sure you check all my videos out and just appreciate the support. Even if you're not playing tomorrow, just give it a quick watch. But yeah, look, we're going to get straight into Randwick tomorrow. Looking at a pretty good meeting, just like the Valley meeting. We're getting into that time of year. We're getting pretty close to spring now, so exciting times and some good horses returning to the track. So first race tomorrow at Randwick, we're looking at heavy 9 conditions at the moment. Randwick is the track rating, so I'd say I'd be playing that heavy range. So look at the first race here. There's a few first starters, and there's also a bit of race brigade here, so it's a really nice race and an interesting first race to start the card at Randwick. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Mandela will get forward, as will Edison from barrier number 1, and some of these first starters might get forward from their based off their trials, but look, I'd say that those two will find the top, Mandela and also Edison. So look, for me, I'm going to give number 4 Mandela one last chance. We're getting $2.60 this time round, which I think is much better than it was last time when it was beaten by Excellent Proposal. Look, this horse got a lot of ability, and I just think that if it can show that once again, goes from 1400 back to the 1200 metres, which I think suits a lot better. But just got to back it on ability. I think this horse has that class edge. You just got to hope that it shows it on race day. So we'll have to obviously keep an eye on the mounting yard. That'll be the key there. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 2, Art Collection. It resumes here for Hayes and Dabney with James McDonald on board. That its first up run last prep was pretty good, where it was beaten by Loving Gabby by 3-point line lengths, and then was miles away from them behind Microphone up the straight at Flemington. But the form out of that race is sensational. Good trial leading in here. I just think that the 1200 metres first up, I think, is a lot better than the 1000 metres sharp fresh, but I do think this horse will be chasing on him for second. Number 1, Edison, got a better time this horse with Bjorn Baker. It was pretty good on debut when finished 1.1 length behind Blitzer, and then obviously it was spelled straight after then by Bjorn Baker. Had a pretty nice trial leading into this where it just narrowly pipped out Famous over the 900 metres. This horse will take a power of beating. And I just think that Mandela's obviously probably a little bit fitter, but this horse will definitely get a good sight in for second. Look, from the also like number 7, Wayne Donor. Now this horse obviously had was my best value bet last time out at Canterbury, and it went really close. It was at 2 lengths off, and ran home really well in for third. It had not a whole lot of luck in the race. So it was top run. Steps out to the 1200 metres this time round, which suits. As I mentioned last preparation, last time it ran at 1200 metres at Canberra, it was 1.6 lengths behind Castle Vecchio. Obviously, that's one of the elite 2-year-old performers from this past season. So really happy to have one Dunner in the numbers as well. So going with the race brigade here, number 4 Mandela on top to beat number 2 Art Collection in for second. In for third, number 1 Edison. And in for fourth, number 7 Wayne Donor, who comes in 54 kilos. Race number 2, benchmark 70 over the 1200 metres. Look at the speed map here. Look, fair bit of speed. It's Arthur in charge, trying to get across on the outside. Adana resumes here. It'll be quite prominent on the speed. I'd say True Detective and Lifetime Quest. Val Guardian will get forward. So look, fair bit of speed in this race. But look, for me, they've saved this horse for this race, number 7 True Detective, and I like it a lot more this time round. Obviously, last time out it was just beaten by the extremely well-backed Spend, who I think has a lot of ability. They absolutely gapped the rest, and the form out of the race has been pretty good. We had Intrepidacious win yesterday at Wyong, which was my best bet of the day, and that horse came out of that race. So we've got some good form coming out of it. $1.90 this time around. I'm much more happy to take that than the $1.65 that was on offer last time out when it was scratched. So happy to have it on top. Look, if they overdo it at the front, this horse will charge home late. Number 3, Mystique. It was really good last time out at Randwick when it chased behind Hawk Brown, who was an absolute superstar in the making, I believe. Very much believe that. This horse doesn't mind the soft going and heavy track form. Obviously, 2 starts on the heavy, 1 win, and 3 starts on the soft track for 1 win and a placing. So it'll come home pretty nicely if they overdo it out front. I've got number 3, Mystique, in for second. In for third, number 2, Condemned. Similarly to Mystique, if they overdo out front, this horse will charge home late. It was really good first up last prep where it was 1.5 lengths off Regine at Randwick. It's had 2 decent trials leading here behind Grey Worm, and he's super lucky. I think this horse might be ready to fire first up, and definitely if they overdo it, as I mentioned, will charge home late with James McDonald in the saddle. So I've got it in for third. In for fourth, I like number 2, Adana. I've had a bit of time for this horse. Obviously, it's got the class edge on these. It raced some really good prep company last time out. It was beaten 0.3 length by Vega Days first up. Then it went to Flemington, we finished 1 lengths off the Inevitable. The form out of that race is excellent. Then was beaten 2.5 lengths by Mystic Journey, and then it was beaten 5.9 lengths off Global Exchange. I know it was beaten by big margins, but geez, there's some really good form there. So this horse, if it comes out fresh here, can run a good race. I think the 1200 is a bit too sharp, but it'll be finishing on well late. So I'm happy to have it in the numbers. So recapping number 2, for race number 2, the numbers, I like number 7, True Detective on top at $1.90. Probably rock bottom odds. I probably wouldn't want to go too much shorter than that. In for second, number 3, Mystique. In for third, number 2, Condemned. And in for fourth, number 4, Adana. Race number 3 over the 600 metres, benchmark 88. Look at the speed map here. I'd say that Gresham and La Chicabella will find the top. There's not a whole lot of speed outside of those two, so that they might take a little bit of power beat. And I think number 1, Gresham, will be hard to beat based off that speed map. We get a nice time in the lead, and we'll prove pretty hard to catch. It was but run over last time out by my best each way bet of the day in Foxy Housewife, which got up at $13 odds. Was absolutely chuffed with that one. That really saved us last week, we didn't have the greatest week last week, but Foxy Housewife was a fantastic win. But I think this horse off the 7-day backup can improve. It's going to get a really good time on the speed. Obviously, has been a bit of a time between wins. Last win was in January 2019. It's had quite a few runs since then, but this horse is always around the mark, and off barrier 1, not a lot of speed in the race, so I'd say it'd be pretty hard to run down, so I'm happy to have it on top. To beat number 4, Palathronius, who just loves this heavy going. 7 starts on the heavy going for 5 wins and a placing. It was really good last time out at Randwick. Charged over the top of them late. It's going for 3 in a row here, and I'd say it could go really close to doing so. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I like number 6, Valentino Rosso. Now this horse had a pretty average trial leading in, but it was pretty good at Doom, but it was only half length off Gold Ambition there. And prior to that, was 4.7 lengths off So You Win. Doesn't mind the heavy going. Definitely prefers much more on the soft. So I'd say this horse with Glenn Boston the saddle might be able to run a nice race in the third. In for fourth, number 3, Selsonic. Now, this horse has got pretty poor heavy track stats, but last time out was really good. It was charged home late last week behind Seaway in the that was in the Winter Challenge, of course, listed level, and prior to that was 1.5 lengths off Eckstein. That was on a heavy track. So this horse I think is really low key flying, just because it's got poor heavy track stats. I just still think that it can run a really good race here. So $7 odds is not bad. So I was pretty keen to have it on top, but I mean, you've also gave a bit of a query. It's never won on a heavy track when it's had a couple of goes at it, but it's really been racing in good form, and I'd say it'll definitely be hitting the line well. So recapping the numbers on race number 3, I like number 1, Gresham on top. To beat number 4, Palathronius. In for second. In for third, number 6, Valentino Rossa. In for fourth, Selsonic. Number 3, Selsonic, who I've got a little bit of a watch on. I do think if it could be a good chance, especially look at the betting late, I'd say, with that one. Race number 4, we're looking at the Tab Highway here as the Race New South Wales Trainers Highway. In fact, this time round, with the 1200 metres. Looking at the speed map here, as always with these meetings, there's quite a lot in it, but it's probably not as much speed as usual. I'd say Gumshoe would find the front, as will Velvet Aeroplane. Moonshine Lady will try and get out from the outside. Anqua will be quite prominent. Look, pretty good race this. I'd say I do like the chances of number 1, I Am Capitan. I think this horse will get a perfect run in the race. It was pretty good running behind Rare Episode last time out. Form out of that race is pretty good. Prior to that was only just narrowly beaten by Gumshoe on a heavy track, so I think it could turn the tables here with a really nice run. I think it's paying nice odds, $7 for the win at $2.80 the place. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 6, Nick Anita, who has a stack of ability, and we know that. In terms of this highway race, it comes in really nice. Looking at last prep, it's in some good races at Canterbury, where it's beaten 1.8 lengths by Aperitif, second up. Then it obviously came into the into a couple of highways where it ran okay, and then beat Almahaha, who was absolutely flying at that point at Newcastle. So this horse is a pretty good highway horse, and I'd say it's paying nice odds. Hugh Bowman in the saddle, resuming $8.53 to win the place. Pretty good odds there as well. So happy to have it in for second. In for third, I do like number 7, Equitable, in James McDonald in the saddle. I thought it was pretty good first up. It was beaten by Velvet Airplane there, but it's carrying 61 kilos there. Carries a 57.5 now. tomorrow. Second up will be a much improved, so I expect a good performance from it in for third. And in for fourth at a bit of odds, number 11, Made of Ore. Now, Brent Abdallah's in the saddle here. This horse, Fresh, is not too bad. It's had 2 starts on the first up for 1 win. That was obviously, that was its first debut run. This thing, light race horse coming off a 288-day break. Then it could run a cheeky race here. Doesn't mind the soft going. It's had 2 starts on it for 2 wins. Obviously, it's never been tried on the heavy, which we'll get tomorrow more than likely. But I can suggest it'll get through the wet rain affected going with those 2 soft wins. So, recapping the numbers, race number 4, number 1, I Am Capitan on top for me to beat number 6, Nick Anita in for second. For third, number 7, Equitable, and then for fourth, number 11, Made of Ore. Race number 5, 1200 metre benchmark 88. Checking out the speed map here. I'd say best guess, Noble Joey will find the front. Isa Rich will be quite prominent, as will Improvement off barrier 2. Look, I'm really keen on this horse resuming here. Number 7, Roharam, but it's paying $1.40. But the thing is, I can't go against it. So the way we're going to play this, we're going to look to multi it up into something. I'll reveal that later on in the card. But this horse's form last prep was brilliant. I mean, it was very good winning on debut. That was smashed Ronstar by 4 lengths at Rose Hill. Then was beaten by Chester, and when it was $1.50 favourites, was really disappointing on that occasion. This horse got a lot of ability. It's got the heavy track win. It's obviously won on debut last time out. It can beat these off the inside barrier. A little bit of a question mark on it, but it'll be really hard to beat. I really can't see anything beating it. So I'm going to have it on top ahead of number 6, Best Guess. So can give a bit of a side. The only thing is it doesn't like the heavy tracks. Had 4 starts on it for just the 1 placing. It was pretty good first up, beaten 2 lengths by Riverbird, of course, is flying. Setting up stats are really good for this horse. 3 starts, 2 wins. So I'd say it'd be in the finish. Also has never had a winner replace the track, so a little bit of a query on it, but I'd say off the on-speed runners it'll be hard to beat. Number 1, Improvement in for third. This is also first up. It got a bit of ability also, I'd say. It was beaten 4 by 2 lengths off Tango Rain resuming. Then was beaten by 0.2 length by Isa Richard. Of course, it faces here. It's had a massive spell though. It's been away from the track for 634 days. Look, the trial leading was really good, but obviously that's a bit of a query. It's probably going to need this first up run and maybe even a second up run, but I do think it'll be in the placings. Obviously it's had 4 starts to the track for 2 wins and a placing, and doesn't mind the rain affected going either. So I'm happy to have it in for third. I'd say it'd be finishing on nicely. In for fourth, the number 2, Split Lip. Now this horse is coming back from much tougher grade. It obviously was 6 lengths off River Race the last time out at the Sunshine Coast in the Glasshouse Handicap listed level there. Prior to that was 6 lengths off Brave Song in Group 3. Then before that was only 1.8 lengths off Victorium at Eagle Farms. This horse has got some really good form lines behind it, and stepping back in class here could give a pretty good side at odds. I'm not saying it's going to win, but I do think that perhaps $15 is over the odds. So happy to have it in for fourth. Look, I probably would like to bump it up the order and look at it now, but for me, it's because there's only 7 in the race and we only get that second place dividend. It's hard to take it in for an each way play, just considering I'm not 100% sure if it will finish in the top 2, but happy to have it in my numbers regardless. So recap the numbers. Look, number 7 Ryan is going to be really hard to beat, but $1.40 is rock bottom odds. In for second, number 6 Best Guess. In for third, number 1 Improvement, and in for fourth, number 2 Split Lip, stepping back in grade. Race number 6 over 800 metres here. Fillies and Mares benchmark 878. Speed map here, I'd say Missy Beale will get towards the front, as will Light Exceed and Miss Millicine. I'd say Sem Fidelis and Tory Joy will try and be quite prominent also. So quite a bit of speed in this race. And look, I'd say it will set up nicely for this horse, number 9 Waking Moment. Now, I did think it had its chance last time out. Was beaten by Dylan's Romance on that occasion, but was well backed. Prior to that was only just beaten by Tory Joy, but I just think 54 kilos, Brent Abdallah in the saddle, it's just going to get its chance this time round. It comes back to the heavy tracks, which obviously it does okay on the rain affected going. I just want to give this horse one last chance. $4.60, $1.70 the place. Could go much worse than that. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 1 Attention Run, who was absolutely superb, resuming beating Monsieur Sisu. Just sat by on the speed and powered over the top late. I think it can improve off the back of that run. This horse looks to have quite a bit of ability, and it's only going to get better over the further distance. So stepping up now 100 metres is just going to suit it perfectly. It's got to carry a lot of weight though. That's my only question. It's got to carry 6.5 kilos with Sam Clinton getting a 2 kilo claim. So I've got him for second, but look, we could probably, well, I'm not going to say back both because one's 360, one 460, but really am a query on number one Attention Run. I'll be watching in the mounting yard. If it looks nice and the betting support's there, I'll probably swing the other way around. I'm pretty keen on this horse going into the future. Number one Attention Run. In the third, number two Millicent. I think this of the on-speed runner, this horse can improve off the back of last time out. It was beaten by Dr. Drill, just sort of faded out there. It was on the pace. Second up stats aren't great, but it has had the one win from one star and heavy, so we know we'll get through the ground. So happy to have it in for third. In for fourth, I like number 8, Missy Beale. Now, I think this horse gets 2 kilo claim, but Jenny Duggan's getting some weight off. Now, this horse was beaten by Light Exceed last time out, but I think just with all the speed in the race, it might be able to turn the tables here. Look, I'm really curious on number 10, Light Exceed, obviously right down the weights, but it's never had a crack on the heavy surface, so happy to leave it out. So recapping the numbers on race number 6, I like number 9, Waking Moment on top to beat number 1, Attention Run. In for second. In for third, number 2, Millicent. In for fourth, number 8, Missy Beale, who I think can improve off that last start disappointment. Race number 7 over the 300 metres is an open Jockey's Reunion handicap. Looking at the speed map here, I'd say Fortensky in first hand and Bangkok will battle out the speed. But besides that, not a whole lot of speed in the race. Look, I am keen to have a play here at number 1 first hand. Look, I'd say it's a really good run on the speeds coming back from listed level where it was beaten by Eckstein by 0.4 lengths. But prior to that, it was only beaten by 0.4 length by Gulwar, and that was a really good run. That was on the heavy surface as well. So I think this horse can just give him something to chase, and $8.50 and $2.30 the place I think is pretty appealing for me. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 2, Haunted, who's probably the best horse in the race, and was pretty good last time out behind Have a Say at the Grafton Guineas on that occasion. No, sorry, that was a morning handicap. And prior to that, it was just okay at Flemington, and prior to that, it was 0.7 of a length off Dispatcher, of course, come out, won the Goodwood after that. So that was at Moorfield over Group 3 levels, so that's pretty good form. And this horse loves rain affected going, so I'd say it'll be in the finish, but I was just happy to have a go at first hand at those each way odds. Thought it represented better value, but real good query on number 2, Haunted, to run a good race. In for second. In for third, number 5, the Milkman. Now, this horse from Matt Smith is first up here from France. It's a weight for age Group 3 level form leading into this. The trial's been pretty good, actually, so I think this horse will finish off really well late. We'll obviously have to watch the betting in the mounting yard. I think this horse will obviously be a lot better over further, but he could run a really cheeky race in behind them to finish in for third. In for fourth, look, I'm going to have number 8, Bangkok, who will be seen just in behind the speed. It's had 4 starts on the heavy for 2 placings. Last time out, beat the Party Girl nicely at Randwick, and before that was beaten 2 lengths by the Flying Lundberg at the time. So I think this horse will run a good race also. So recapping the numbers on race number 7, number 1 first hand on top, just like the each way odds, better value. In for second, number 2, Haunted. In for third, number 5, the Milkman. And in for fourth, number 8, Bangkok. Race number 8, 800 metre benchmark 78 race here. I look at the speed map, I'd say Monsieur Sisson or Saba will find the top. Hogmanay will sit not far off them, but not a whole lot of speed in this. And I'd say as a result, look, on the heavy track, I'd say number 3, Monsieur Sisu comes in nicely here again. Obviously last time out was a bit disappointed, beaten by Palathronius, but prior to that was beaten 0.3 length by Attention Run. As I mentioned, that horse runs earlier in the card, so we'll get a good form reference there. But this horse just loves the heavy going. 6 starts on over 3 wins, 3 placings. I think we definitely need a heavy track. So you've got it back at $14 odds, $3.70 the place. Be crazy not to take it with those sorts of stats. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 10, Ulasaba, who, as I mentioned, will be battling on the speed also. Thought it was really good winning at Canterbury recently. Has never had to go at the heavy track, which is a little bit of a concern. But look, I'm happy to take it. It's got good soft track form and good track stats. Prior to that last start win, by the way, it's only 1.7 lengths off. Attorney, of course, was favourite the other week on Saturday and was scratched. So I think the form is pretty good. And again, before that was beaten by Guys, who was absolutely flying at that time. So this horse will definitely be in the finish, I'd say. Number 10, Ulasaba. So I've got that in for second. In for third, number 2, Primitivo. It's going to spot them a start, but this horse will definitely charge home late. It was pretty good last time out. It came a long way back to finish behind Dylan's Romance. I'd say it can improve here and run a nice race once again back to 800. And in for fourth, number 7, Sidemen Invention. Look, no knock on this horse. Was only beat 0.2 length by Curro, of course. Run really well yesterday in the Coffs Harbour Cup. Was only just beaten narrowly there. Prior to that was beaten 1.5 lengths off Stellar Season, who of course has come out one since. So the form is really good behind Cyber Intervention. But for me, it's just rock bottom odds. $2.40 with the wide barrier, not a lot of speed of the race. It's going to have to be really good to win from there. So I'm happy to have it in for fourth. Race number 8, recap the numbers. Number 3, Monsieur Sisu on top to beat number 10, Ulasaba. In for third, number 2, Primitivo. And in for fourth, number 7, Cyber Adventure. So no knock. The horse got a bit of ability, a lot of form around it, but $2.40, real rock bottom odds. Race number 9, 400 metre, benchmark 78. A lot of speed in this. I'd say slow burn for use inside barrier. Judge Judy and Denali will get forward. I'd say Metamorphic and Shock Alert from the outsides will get prominent. Maybe not. I don't think Metamorphic will battle out for the speed. Might look for a bit of a spot, but yeah, a lot of speed in this race. And look, I think it's going to set up really nice for number 8, the Enzo. I think this horse is paying great odds. It was pretty disappointing last time out behind Hawkbury and her at Randwick, and then prior to that, 5.5 lengths off Sir Alton. I think this horse can improve. I just think with all the speed in the race, it's going to get a good chance to swoop over them late, and I'm hoping that late in the day they might be able to swoop down the outside part of the track and finish on. So I'm going to have this horse in on top to beat number 9, Metamorphic. I think it's paying pretty good odds here. The heavy track stats aren't great, and look, it was just okay behind Handle the Truth last time out, but fourth up here, much fitter for the run. I think it'll run a good race. In for third, number 5, Jack's Bar. Look, no knock on this. It was a pretty good run last time out at Rose Hill on speed. Was just beaten late by Hand of the Truth. Obviously gets through the wet going, so that's a big tick coming into this. So I've got in for second, and in for third, I like number 1, Drakenfels. As I also mentioned, if they overdo it out front, this horse will swoop on them late, coming out of that same Hand of the Truth form line where it finished fourth. And I just think that it's carrying 60 kilos, whereas the Enzo carries 56. And I just got that bit of a feeling that the Enzo might be able to run a better race here. But look, very difficult last way to end the day at Randwick. So I'm just going to have number 8, the Enzo, on top at a bit of odds. Look, not a whole lot of confidence in this race. Number 9, Metamorphic in for second. In for third, number 5, Jack's Bar. In for fourth, number 1, Drakenfels. Now, I forgot to do this in the Moonee Valley video, but you'll see that on my Instagram and Facebook posts. So Instagram pages _Racing Tips and C-Lane Racing Tips on Facebook. Go and check them out. Give us a like and follow my tips on there. I will remember to do that here for Randwick. So I will be posting the best bets in the description on the Moonee Valley video and the on my Facebook and Instagram, so just keep an eye out for them. I apologise for not doing that, but for me, look, my best bet, number 7, True Detective, but $1.90, not too keen, but I'll have that as one of my best bets. But I think we can multi that up in a rotter and we'll get a nice return there. So that's our multi-play for the day. So I hope you have that. The other sort of best bet that I quite like is race. Let's have a look here, actually. That's probably my best bet on the day. We'll play that way. We'll go True Detective into Roharan, and then in race number 1, I'm pretty keen on number 4, Mandela. Each way plays. Race number 8, number 3, Monsieur Sisu, $14 win, $3.70 place. I think that's great odds. And in race number 7, number 1, First Hand, $8.50 and $2.30. So thanks for watching. Good luck tomorrow. Hopefully we can make plenty of coin. Check out my Moonee Valley preview, and I've got Morphettville and Doomben, just the best bets video coming up there. So good luck if you're playing tomorrow, and happy punting.